Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. A federal grand jury has indicted former FBI Director James Comey on 2 criminal charges, which include making a false statement to Congress and the obstruction of a congressional proceeding during his testimony back in 2020 about Russian interference in the 2016 election. Thursday's indictment of Comey comes just days before a statute of limitations on the charges was due to expire, and less than a week after President Trump installed Lindsey Halligan, his personal lawyer, as the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia to replace her predecessor, Eric Siebert, who resigned under pressure from Trump because he refused to bring charges against Comey. Here's Comey responding to his indictment.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right. But I'm not afraid.
James Comey's son-in-law, Troy Edwards Jr., resigned from his position as a national security prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia immediately after the indictment was announced. Earlier this year, the Justice Department fired Comey's daughter, who Comey was just referring to in his video, Maureen Comey, for her position as a prosecutor in the Southern District of New York. She is sued, claiming she was fired for political reasons. Maureen Comey successfully prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein co-conspirator, convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell, and Comey was involved in the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. Meanwhile, the New York Times is reporting the Justice Department is calling on federal prosecutors to investigate the billionaire George Soros' philanthropic group, the Open Society Foundations. The DOJ's directive lists possible charges ranging from arson to material support for terrorism. In response, Soros called out the Trump administration for, quote, politically motivated attacks on civil society, unquote. Israel's military has issued new evacuation orders for neighborhoods of Gaza City as Israeli ground forces push deeper into the Gaza Strip's largest urban area. Israeli attacks have killed at least 29 Palestinians since dawn, 11 of them civilians seeking food, including 2 children. Many Palestinians continue to resist Israel's forced displacement, moving from one place to another within Gaza City rather than leaving entirely. This is Samia al-Samri, a Palestinian mother whose family sheltering at a tent after an Israeli bomb flattened her home, killing her 9-year-old son.
My son was martyred in front of my eyes, and I could not carry him. I was worried that my children would be martyred as well, and I was injured. My son over here was also injured. I suffered. That's why I became worried about my children. Whenever there is a threat, I run away. I get scared, carry my children, and run.
After headlines, we'll speak with Al Jazeera reporter Hani Mahmoud, who has just left Gaza City. Israeli strikes bombarded Yemen's capital, Sana'a, on Thursday, killing at least 8 people and wounding 142. Israel's repeatedly targeted residential areas.
They have targeted residential neighborhoods that is known to all people, Al-Raqqa neighborhood. They only frighten women and children. They only make us stronger and more steadfast. And we say to Netanyahu, we swear to tear out his eye.
The attack comes a day after the Houthis claimed responsibility for a drone attack on Eilat in southern Israel, injuring 22 people. Earlier this month, Israeli strikes on Sana'a and the province of Al-Jaf killed more than 40 people and was the largest single attack on journalists the world has seen in 16 years. The president of the Palestinian Authority has condemned Israel's assault on the Gaza Strip as a war of genocide, destruction, starvation, and displacement, unquote. Mahmoud Abbas made the remarks in a video address Thursday to the United Nations General Assembly.
Today we say clearly, peace cannot be achieved if justice is not achieved, and there can be no justice if Palestine is not freed.
Abbas said he was ready to work with world leaders to implement a peace plan announced by France on Monday. He condemned Hamas's actions October 7, 2023, and said the group would not have a role to play in any future governments of an independent state of Palestine. Abbas's UN speech came as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu flew to New York, where he's set to address the General Assembly today. For the first time, Netanyahu's flight route was diverted over the Mediterranean Sea to avoid overflying a country that would be obliged to arrest him. An international criminal court warrant seeks Netanyahu's arrest for war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in Gaza, including using starvation as a weapon of war. This morning, protesters are gathering at Times Square for a march to the UN demanding the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu. Microsoft says it's barred the Israeli military from using technology it's used to spy on millions of Palestinian civilian phone calls made each day in Gaza and the occupied West Bank and stored in Microsoft's vast Azure cloud computing platform. It's an unprecedented victory for No Azure for Apartheid, a group of current and former Microsoft workers demanding an end to Microsoft's work with the Israeli military. But in a statement, the group called Microsoft's actions insufficient, noting the vast majority of Microsoft's tech sales to the Israeli military continue to be untouched. Later in the broadcast, we'll speak with Hossam Nasser. He is a fired Microsoft worker who is an organizer with No Azure for Apartheid. Russia's foreign ministry has ratcheted up tensions with NATO, accusing the Western military alliance of waging war on Russia. Speaking at a G20 conference on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly here in New York Thursday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said, quote, NATO and the European Union want to declare, in fact, have already declared a real war on my country and are directly participating in it, unquote. His comments come days after President Trump suggested Ukraine could claw back its territory taken by Russia. Meanwhile, Denmark reported to NATO that state actors are responsible for drone incursions that shut down 2 airports. That's according to Latvia's foreign minister speaking to Reuters. Germany's defense minister, Boris Pistorius, went further and blamed Russia for the drone incursions.
The suspicion is obvious. This is part of Vladimir Putin's strategy, without us being able to say anything concrete in this case. But it is part of what we experience every day. We are not at war, but we are also no longer at complete peace. We are being attacked, both in disinformation campaigns and now also by drones.
The Trump administration's negotiating a $20 billion financial bailout for Argentina amidst a worsening economic crisis, largely due to austerity measures enacted by embattled far-right Argentine president and Trump ally Javier Milei. Critics say the move contradicts Trump's so-called America First policies by offering a lifeline to Milei ahead of Argentina's midterm elections in October, which are critical to Milei retaining power. Here in New York, outrage is mounting after a federal agent in plain clothes was caught on video shoving and pushing an Ecuadorian mother to the ground as her 2 young children watched and screamed in panic inside 26 Federal Plaza in Manhattan. Video shows the woman crying as she begs authorities not to take her husband, who was detained during the family's asylum hearing at the federal building. The woman is heard telling agents in Spanish they're going to kill him if her husband is deported to Ecuador. The agent is also heard mocking the woman, telling her adios repeatedly, the Spanish word for goodbye, before ramming her against the wall and shoving her to the floor.
Adios. Oh, come on, man. Come on. Oh, my God. Press, move out.
The family reportedly arrived from Ecuador last year. This came as protesters gathered outside 26 Federal Plaza Thursday, where immigrants have described being imprisoned for days or weeks without due process in overcrowded cells, without access to medication and proper sanitation, being forced to sleep on the concrete floor and left hungry without outside contact. This is New York Assembly member Jessica Gonzalez Rojas.
We are done with this administration and their cruelty. We will demand that ICE is out of New York, and we need to fight to make sure that we are passing laws here in New York that will protect our immigrant neighbors. Because we are all the child of immigrants.
Amazon has reached a $2.5 billion settlement with the Federal Trade Commission over allegations the company tricked users into paying for Prime membership. Amazon's set to give $1 billion to the FTC and another $1.5 billion back to customers impacted by the company's practices. Amazon still faces a legal case with the FTC over allegations the company is illegally stifling competition in the e-commerce market. And President Trump signed an executive order Thursday that would allow TikTok to keep operating in the U.S. The order enables a group of investors to buy the American operations of the app from the Chinese company ByteDance. China still has to approve the deal. The company Oracle will reportedly take over security operations and cloud computing for TikTok's U.S. firm. Oracle's co-founder and chair, Larry Ellison, is a decades-long history with the Republican Party and has frequented Trump's Mar-a-Lago for dinners and has met Trump in the Oval Office. He's also an ally of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, donating money to Israel's military through the nonprofit Friends of the Israel Defense Forces. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates-backed investment firm MGX is also reportedly set to win a major stake in TikTok's U.S. business. Back in May, MGX made a $2 billion investment in the Trump family's cryptocurrency business, World Liberty Financial. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to the daily podcast, and so much more.